SoloMoms Talk was designed to curate the stories of solo moms globally. As a facilitator of this platform, I aim to create a peaceful environment where you can share your heart, feel loved, and get the advice you need. So if this sounds like you, why not RSVP for our next virtual meetup? The link is below. It's where you can retreat from the chaos of your life so you can recharge, connect with other moms, and get answers to your burning questions. Remember, you're not alone and you don't have to parent in silence. My guest today is Renee Marie Simpson. Thanks for coming and talking to us today, Marie. I'm sorry, Renee. Thank you.
That's okay. We're all human. Thanks for having me, Rose.
Sure. And I know we have, some interesting things to talk about concerning, your experiences. But before we get into that, or maybe before we lead into that, tell us about Renee.
Tell you about me. I guess I'm an author. I'm also an advocate for sexual assault awareness. I'm also a single mum. I work for local government, advocating for more support for young people. I run a youth centre, and we also go out to different schools and we talk about different subjects that young people need some help with. So it might be around study skills. It could be around mental health, relationship, HSC stress here, how to have difficult conversations around, if you have a friend that, you're concerned about their mental health. So I get to wear lots of different hats and it's quite fun. And I also get to run a lot of group programs, support programs, and I'm really passionate about supporting young women.
Okay.
And creating safer communities for everybody.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And I hear, are you Aussie? You're from Australia?
Yes, okay. I am from Australia.
Right. Okay. Great stuff. That's my second Aussie this month. So it's exciting.
Awesome.
Yeah. Is it okay to say Aussie? I don't know.
Yeah, go for it. No, definitely. I'm very Aussie. I'm a bit of a bogan, so yes, I can take it.
All right. And how did you become a solo mom?
Well, my daughter and my daughter's father and I, we have been on and off for 10 years. We've always had a really great friendship, and we've kind of always found ourselves back together in some way. And then we've also found ourselves not together for always for the same reasons, really. I think we just are hopeless romantics and hope things will change, and they don't. But yeah, so when we split last year, we still made a decision that we still wanted to keep trying to have a baby. And, I'm 37 this year, so it needs to happen now, or it's not going to happen. And with my history and trauma, I find it really difficult to trust. So I couldn't see myself investing in another relationship that takes years to build that trust to then make that decision of, okay, now I'm ready to have a baby.
Okay.
So he was totally open to that. And like I said, we're always going to be in each other's lives in some form. So we kept trying. And during when we actually split up last time, I jumped into writing my book as a way of filling the space and filling the time and I guess healing the heart. And it was during that writing process that I fell pregnant. And it was almost like a miracle because I had a lot of problems leading up with miscarriages. And I was really starting to wonder if it was ever going to happen. But I also had this deep sense of knowing that she's coming, like that there's a baby coming for me. There's a spirit just waiting for me to be its mother. And I knew it. That's why I wasn't quite going to give up yet, And I just felt like writing this book did some sort of womb healing, It really cleared something from me, like my trauma or whatever those blockages were. I think that was sort of getting in the way of me inviting in this baby girl. So I fell pregnant and we're overjoyed, and we tried to work things out again, during the pregnancy, just really bumpy. And then once she came into the world, very bumpy again. Both our mothers are just really tough women. And so in the end, we just said, oh, look, let's just live in separate houses and co-parent. We still get along. We have really bad weeks where we don't get along, and we have, really great weeks where we're best mates. So I've just accepted that that's just the way things are. We thought about doing couples counselling, but I feel like that's just I was very open to it, but then I found like I was just really anxious about it. And I just sort of felt like, are we going backwards with doing couples counseling, just rehashing the past? And so I just sort of accepted that anything that's happened in the past has happened. Let's just forgive, let's move forward, and let's just, I don't know, take every day as it comes and do the best we can in our present moments, you know.
Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing. And I always like that story because, you know, it just tells us another side to the solo mom journey, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. You mentioned trauma quite a bit, and you also mentioned mental health. Is there a story about the trauma in your life that you want to share with us?
Yes. So my book is called I Want to Go Home, Reclaiming Power After Sexual Assault. So that book centers around an experience that I had when I was 21. And the book follows me on a journey when I accepted an invitation to sail from Gibraltar to Phuket. So I was out on my wonderful gap year and traveling the world for 12 months and doing all things that crazy young people do. And I just started to feel like my soul just really wanted to go home. I was just I had enough. I had enough of the partying. I had enough of it all. And I just wanted to sleep. I wanted to rest and whatever, you know, whatever that looks like. I can see it now from a very symbolic perspective and very metaphorical. But I can remember just how tired I felt. And so I jumped onto this sailing boat with no experience and just thought it'd be a great adventure. And I took one of my girlfriends with me, and, you know, there were 3 crew that had no experience. There were 2 that were qualified skippers. And we just jumped in, and everything that could go wrong went wrong. So we sailed through Category 5 cyclone. We starved for a few days on a few legs. We had so many mechanical failures that literally our lives were very much at stake. And we and I had the skipper didn't like me, so I had to deal with that relationship issue the whole time. I also fell in love on the boat, which was beautiful. That was a nice silver lining. But it was this sailing trip that really forced me to just stop and just be still and have silence and be sober, because I was drinking a lot at the time. And so when you give yourself that space, time, love, you have to also sit with the stuff that brings as well, that comes up. And for me, I had been running away from the truth that I had been raped by my best friend's boyfriend a week before I went on my gap year trip. And like all terrible things, they come at the worst time, and there's never a good time for them. So at the time, I just I spoke to a friend who didn't give me the best advice, who was kind of like, just go overseas and just pretend it never happened. And, you know, it's your word against his. And, you know, you don't want to go and report right now because, you know, you're going overseas. So what's the point of that? And I didn't want to deal with it either. So, you know, I cried myself, you know, just hid in my room and cried for days and just tried to pretend it didn't happen. And then I went overseas, tried to do the same thing, but just buried that with alcohol, you know, sex, and all these things you can get away with when you're traveling. You know, no one knows you, so you can really just be whoever you want to be. So getting on this boat, facing this reality was obviously the first step, you know, accepting that, hey, this happened to me. And then I also had to accept that, hey, you know, I've also been dealing with childhood sexual abuse trauma all my life since I was 6, and I did report when I was 8. And so this book is all about acknowledging the trauma we hold in our bones. It's about the process that happens internally before we even get to a point of telling our stories, like even being able to put them into words. And it's about a conversation around the stigma as well, why we don't report, why we don't talk about things, you know, how we judge ourselves, how we feel like community judges us, society, our cultures, the people in our lives, past experiences we've had with asking for help or reporting or with police. So, and then it shifts, you know, it's not this sort of horribly triggering read. It's a very gentle poetic read, I would say. Lots of people have said that to me. And then it shifts to, going through all these really difficult challenges out there to finding power. And it's like, how do I change my thoughts around? It's about that, the mind, body, spirit, and how that all sort of comes into play when we start to build our confidence back, and how we just start to refuse to let anyone else take our power again. And, and it's in those little moments that we start stepping up and reclaiming ourselves and our bodies and reconnecting with spirit too. Like, I found a lot that was happening out there for me, like reconnecting with nature and sailing in the mornings where it's just me and my partner at the time. He would just sleep in the early mornings when the sun was coming up, and I'd just be out there helming, by myself, and it was just me and these waves and this beautiful open sky with the clouds. And that is, if you don't feel connected to God in a moment like that, I don't think you ever will, because it was just like, and here I am. I don't know, like, it's just, and I'm surviving, and I look at where I am, and it's just, it's a beautiful book. So anyone that is a survivor themselves, I can definitely relate. Anyone that's had trouble in relationships with survivors or is supporting a survivor, it's also a beautiful story to read, because it will help you to understand a bit more what's going on beneath the surface, maybe when we don't have the words to explain for ourselves how we're feeling.
Oh, wow. So in the midst of trauma, you had to deal with other, past trauma. And and I guess it's ironic in the sense that the experience you were having on the boat were all outward experiences, right? There were difficult circumstances, but they were all on the outside. But for some reason, it forced you to deal with the internal.
That's exactly, you caught the symbolism, and you caught the irony, and that's really what I felt too. Was like, wow, this is really symbolic. This whole being on the boat, and everything, like you said, is outside my control, and everything's external, and all we have control over is the internal. And so it's about how do we manage all of that, and like. And even, the storms out there and the cyclones and the waves, they all became very symbolic to like how I was feeling inside. Absolutely. You nailed it.
Yeah. And I don't know, for me too, I've never been, I shouldn't say I've never been on a boat, but for me, just looking at the ocean, I feel closer to God. There's just something about the ocean that water is life, Yeah. So,
I think it has sort of two things. You can look at the water, like the ocean, and think that scares me because it's so powerful, and it can do so many amazing things. Or you can look at the water and think, wow, it's also so like cleansing, and like if you stand under a waterfall, or just go for a swim, like it's always so, I don't know, it does something to the soul, like it's washes away everything.
Yes, there is definitely some power in water, apart from the obvious power, Yeah, wow. I really appreciate you sharing your story, and you're actually my second guest who's recovering from sexual trauma, from being raped. And so I imagine there are thousands of women who are, traumatized this way, but never talk about it. So I appreciate the fact that you've been awakened out of the slumber that, maybe fear or, embarrassment or whatever it is put you in. And I guess something happened to trigger you to actually face the fact that it did happen, and to seek healing. So what can someone do? Because not everyone is going to be brave enough to get on a boat with with a bunch of people and get the trauma knocked out of them, so to speak. So do you have any suggestion for someone who's dealing with the aftermath? It's not even just the aftermath of sexual assault, but also they haven't told anybody it happened. They're hiding
Mm.
it. Do you have any kind of pointers, advice, anything?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I guess my awakening happened in such a big way. That's probably what I needed at the time. But you're absolutely right. I think so. I've been working on a few things actually. I'm looking at creating a market stand. I want to start getting out into community now and having this answering those very questions that you mentioned, because I think, like you mentioned, there's so many people that suffer in silence. And in America, it's 1 in 4 women that live with sexual assault. In Australia, it's 1 in 5. I saw as the recent stats. And so that's terrible.
Yeah, a lot
That's
of women. Yeah.
so close to us. That's your neighbor, your sister, your auntie, your mom, your friend, your colleague. So these conversations need to be normalized. Like, we need to feel safe talking about them and overcoming that shame, But like you said, yeah, it takes bravery. It takes overcoming all those internal things we talked about, that stigma. And it's never ever a victim's fault. They should always be believed and heard. But I do think there's a lot of, because there are so many of us that carry this trauma, it is triggering for some other people in our lives to listen to these stories too.
Yeah.
And so often we can be shut down from talking about them by other people that we love.
Yeah.
So my advice is, first of all, I think it's really important to learn to open up about what happened to you. And that's the first step. And that needs to, that doesn't need to be anyone. That could be talking to a counselor. That could be talking to a trusted friend. It's so important that when you first tell someone, you are held and listened to and believed. Mm-hmm. So I know if you tell someone and you have sort of a negative experience, we just go back into our shell, into our cave, and it can be quite scary to really ever come out again. So choose someone that you can trust. And so you've got a lot of crisis support hotlines that can hold space for you, that like you will have a positive experience. Or a friend or a family member that can listen to you. Definitely reach out to someone you trust. That's really important. I would say also challenge. We need to challenge ourselves around helplessness and that isolation, because I think a lot of us tell ourselves, no one will understand, I'm all on my own. There's a lot of really amazing survivor groups that are out there now. I'm a part of a few on Facebook. My favorite one is called Sexual Assault Survivors. It's Time to Tell Your Story. And it's beautifully supportive. And it could start with, just maybe building some relationships in there. It could just be you're reading other people's stories. But what that page is set up to do is to give you a soft place to land, to tell your story through writing with people that are all survivors themselves. So you're going to be held in a really positive space. Yeah. So that's somewhere you could start. There are also some really nice support groups that are face-to-face too. It could be as simple as easy as going to like a women's support group. I love like women's circles. I find them really lovely. You might not be interested in telling your story there, but they're just nice places to go and be around people that are also on the healing journey.
Yeah.
So look into some different support groups that feel right for you. It could even be, an art group. A lot of people that go to different creative classes and workshops are also on the healing path.
Yeah.
So that's really important. Consider joining, that helplessness I was talking about. So that's also about getting out of your comfort zone. So with my experience, like I was completely out of my comfort zone. So I would say if you can challenge yourself to get out of your comfort zone, it could be in small ways, it could be in big ways, but that's also going to help you like build your confidence up, build your self-worth up. And when I say out of your comfort zone, it's doing things that are healthy and good for you, that feel wholesome. Mm-hmm. It's not like, I'm going to, like, there's lots of, we all can think of probably like some really negative things we could do ourselves or like, get up to, but it's about doing something that feels really good, that might be hard. So it could be going on a women's retreat. It could be going on a meditation retreat. It could be signing up to do yoga classes. It's really about finding where your edge is and just playing on that edge, and you'll start to notice, you'll start to feel better about you, and you'll probably start feeling braver. And that's also going to give you more courage to come out, be you, shine, tell your story, tell your truth. And then I'd say it's about coping with our feelings of the shame and the guilt. And these can be worked through with counsellors. These can be worked through even just with mindfulness. And there's some really great books you can read too around this, like The Body Keeps a Score. That's a really good one too. Just to acknowledge that what you're feeling and what you're going through is completely normal. And like I got so much out of reading a few different books like this, even just during my research for my book, and even just through reading different support resources as well around common ways that our bodies respond to trauma and triggers. And, you know, you feel like you do feel quite isolated and alone when you are experiencing the fight or flight responses in your everyday relationships. And like little things will set us off and we're like, why am I a crazy woman right now? But once you start understanding how your body is trying to protect you from that ever going through that again, or feeling the way you felt during the trauma or after the trauma, you have so much more self-compassion for yourself. And then when you do have these intimate relationships, you can explain to them, hey, this is how I respond to this because this is my body trying to keep me safe around . So I think getting to know yourself better is so important. And so, so therapists can help you do that. But even journaling, you could even just keep a journal around, like, this is how I felt today. This is what came up for me. I think this is why. You know, often when you just sit with yourself and think about, what was that about? What do you think my body was trying to do? And often you'll find your own answer.
Yes.
I think prepare for your triggers and just accept and reassure yourself that you're safe now. I think that's really the biggest one around triggers and keeping yourself grounded in the present. I think it's really important to stay connected, participating in social activities, reconnecting with old friends, because sometimes we often withdraw during these experiences or after these experiences. So really important to stay connected in whatever way feels safe for you, and make new friends. Be open to making some new friends. I know I've struggled in my life with, sometimes not having the most supportive friends, or more like I think I've had friends that have wanted to support me, but maybe not in the healthiest ways. And so I've found getting out there a bit more and for an example, I've joined like an outdoor hiking group locally here because they're people that are doing healthy things and they're into the outdoors like me. Yeah. And I'm also making friends with people and doing something that's healthy. So have a think about what you're interested in and where you could possibly make some new friends. And it is hard getting out there, because I know a lot of my friends now are like, oh, I wouldn't just join some sort of like social group like that by myself. But sometimes we just have to. It's survival. Yeah. Like we can't just. Yeah. I love that saying about, if we stay in the pond, we'll never discover the sea.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I think it's really important to just try new things, and as much as it's scary and tough and makes us anxious to start with, once you take those little steps, they're not little steps anymore, and then you'll just be more confident to try and do like bigger, bolder things. Yeah. And then my last bit of advice is just learn how to nurture yourself. So take some time to rest, restore your body's balance, be gentle with yourself, consuming, negative media. Take care of yourself physically, avoid alcohol and drugs, because we know that just makes us all more depressed, and really try to reconnect to your body and your feelings, because after we have these traumatic experiences, our body tries to protect us by disconnecting us from our bodies, because it's often our bodies that tell us that, we're not safe anymore, or we feel like our body's betrayed us. Yeah. So, or it's broken or it's damaged in some way. So we'll try to numb ourselves or detach, dissociate. So find ways that you can come back into your body. So yoga, Tai Chi. I'm loving dance at the moment. Like, it hasn't really been a thing in my life, but since becoming a mom, I don't know. I feel like I need to be dancing. Yeah. So I've been trying that modality a little bit more, and you could just be doing it at home. I've started to try out this Kundi dance thing, which is like activating all the energy centers apparently, and it's a bit out there, like I will admit it's a bit out there, but but once again, I think healing it's a path, it's a journey, it's an adventure, and we just have to be really open and creative with it and just see what works for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see how all of that can hopefully lead you to maybe telling someone, right? If you're one of those people who kept it in, because it softens your spirit by by practicing self-care, you soften your spirit, and hopefully it gives you the energy and the courage to talk about it. And then by you getting out comfortable with new friends or new activities, it gives you more courage. Because I'm thinking, you can disagree if you want, that unless you speak it, that it doesn't go away. Everything, all the other things you're doing for self-care, etc., is more of not a band-aid, but the other things. But that the core thing is that you talk about it, tell somebody about it. That's what I'm thinking from listening to you and from what I've heard from others.
Yeah, that's how I feel it too. Yeah. It's like in my book, I talk about our secrets are like chicken bones stuck in our throat.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, we can do all these wonderful things, but if we're still choking on something, like how liberated are we?
Yeah.
So I think, it's doing all these amazing things, but then it's also getting whatever needs to be said out in a safe way that makes you feel empowered,
right,
and free.
Okay, I really appreciate you coming and talking to me, Renee. You know what I've been doing this week is I've been watching Rescue Special Ops.
Yeah.
Do you know what? You know that show?
No, what's that about?
So it's an Australian show full of hot guys, and they're a team of special ops experts. So if there's any kind of disaster, they go in and rescue the victims of those disasters. And it's a very interesting show. I love it.
Where is it here? Why can't I watch it here?
I don't know.
It must be one of our exports.
I don't know. I hope you got it there because it's really, really good. I think it's really good. So
I can imagine the guys would be gorgeous.
Yeah, they are. And
talented and skilled, of course, as well.
And when they open their mouth, it's just, I grew up in England, so I'm used to funny guys, and these guys are really funny. So it's really nice. Yeah.
Fantastic. I'll have to have a look for it.
Yeah. So I really appreciate you coming. Anything else? Where can we find you? Online?
Follow me I'm on Instagram and Facebook. Okay. So my handle is Renee Marie, Marie Simpson, as in The Simpson, author. So Renee Marie Simpson, author. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and my website is reneemariesimpson.com.
Okay.
And you can check out my book there, get to know me a little bit better. And I also have some resources and things like that on there that you can grab, and they're all free. Something else I wanted to add. Oh, and you can also sign up for my emailing list where I send out a monthly love letter around some different strategies to help you heal too after trauma.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'll put those in the show notes as well, so you could have access to them. All right. Thank you, Renee.
Thank you, Rosemary. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm excited to share that SoloMoms Talk is now on YouTube. Check out these interviews on our new channel, SoloMoms Talk TV. There you will actually see the interaction between myself and my guests. You will also find bite-sized clips of daily inspiration to help you manage the struggles of everyday life. So click SoloMoms Talk TV below to watch now.